You're listening to Cinema Rex. It's an Iranian film podcast. Episode 66, Samira Makhmalbaf's The Apple, also known as Sib. Did you know that, Farhan? Did you know that Sib in Farsi means apple in English?
Yes.
Aren't you glad you have me around for some of these?
Yeah, the translations are...
idiosyncratic translations.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Durud Bashama Dustan Aziz, this is the Cinerex podcast. I apologize to you guys in advance. Where we talk all things Iranian films, Iranian television, actors, performances, writing, directing, producing. We talk about child enslavement, because that's the subject of today's film. Surface level metaphors. We talk about family dynasty filmmakings.
Hey, you're on a roll.
What else do we talk about, Farhan?
Imprisonment, ice cream, apples.
Yeah.
Watches that go choo-choo.
I'm Kavim Waibi.
And I'm Farhan Moradi.
And today we're talking about Samir Makhmalbaf's debut feature film, The Apple, also known as Sib. And as you probably know, Samira Makhmalbaf is famously Mohsen Makhmalbaf's eldest daughter, firstborn child. And this is, well, there's a lot to talk about here. It's stuff we've covered a little bit in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into plot summary. Based on a popularized news story, The Apple tells the tale of a father who for 11 years kept his two daughters imprisoned in his house, all playing themselves, until a televised program reported on them creates a citywide sensation. After over a decade of imprisonment, the two sisters are finally released by social workers to face the outside world for the first time. It has an 85% Rotten Tomatoes score and an 83% audience score. So I ask you, Farhan June, what did you think of Samir Makhmalbaf's Sib?
I liked it. My initial thought, like with the setup of the film, because it like sets up the film within the first couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Was, oh my God, this is such a messed up situation.
Yeah.
The beginning is very hard to tell if this is a documentary or fiction.
Yeah.
But then as the movie goes on, it's like, oh, okay, no, this is like even if it's like based on a real story, like this movie is fiction. Like this is like, there's a script, they're told what to do type thing.
Yeah. This is very much like my first note off the top was it started with such static images of different things that I was instantly like, oh, it's like very off the cuff, immediately so literary and poetic. And it gave me instant flashbacks of The House is Black.
Yeah,
like this
me
is
too,
Samir Makhmalbaf. Like when the first, like I'm literally talking the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then from there, it goes into the documentary footage, which is shot like a newsreel special, like almost like a thing. And I didn't know if the whole film was going to feel like this documentary
that part
thing.
Felt a lot like, you know, those like true crime documentaries where like kids totally escape from their house and then they're like, well, tell us what happened, whatever. And then they're like,
I wrote like Dateline NBC.
Yeah.
Dateline NBC
exactly,
or Hard Copy or something. It really had that feeling.
Exactly. I'm glad it didn't stick to that, like that it kind of veered off from it.
Yeah, I did too. I wasn't in the mood for that.
Yeah.
All of that. I was kind of turned off immediately at first.
Yeah. I also wrote the interactions with all the kids were really good.
Yeah.
And in particular, I really like when they meet the other girls at the end of in the third act.
Let me give a quick overview of this film so we talk about it. I think this can be like summarized quite succinctly.
Yeah.
It's essentially a true story. Samir Makhmalbaf is following the lives of these two girls who, in real life in Iran, a news outlet had broken out about their father, who's an elderly man, had essentially kept their two 11, 12-year-old daughters behind a caged wall in their house. Like, they didn't let them out of the house, essentially, because his wife is blind, the mother of these two children, and so she can't take care of them. And they seem to be, for the most part, if we're being quite honest, it's like mentally deficient. I don't know what
I mean, yeah, I think they have some kind of developmental handicap.
Yeah. And so for these combined reasons, whenever the father has to go out to do anything, grocery shopping or try to find some work or try to get anything going, he leaves them locked in the house, and all the neighbors are complaining because they see these two poor girls caged in their homes. And the film opens with this letter, a handwritten letter, which if you don't have subtitles, you're pretty shit out of luck. But reading what the subtitle said, it goes, "To the director of the welfare department, we hereby inform you that in Valias, Tehran, on the road to Save at 10 Sajavi Avenue lives, or rather exists, a family made up of a man, a blind woman, and two 12-year-old girls. The two girls have never been out of their house. Their door is locked. They cannot speak. They haven't had a bath for years. All their neighbors complain about the situation, but no one dares intervene. So we, the undersigned, request you to take urgent action. And then as the credits start rolling, you just see a list of names start being filled out underneath. Like people are filling out their... So it's like
it's like an opening crawl.
It's an opening crawl, but what's the letter when you try a petition letter?
Oh, like petition. Yeah.
It's like a petition sent to the welfare department to like, please do something about this. This is horrific, and we're genuinely upset and worried. And it's a kind of a nice, efficient way of setting it up. To tell the rest of the film, it's quite easy. Like the whole 10 minutes, first 15 minutes is like this news outlet, like a Dateline NBC about them. And they're asking the father questions. Why have you done this? He explains the situation. And they're like, okay, we're going to bathe them, clean them, give them haircuts. If you promise to not lock them in the house anymore, we will give you another chance at being the parents and guardians.
I didn't realize that they cut their hairs.
The welfare department did, yeah.
Yeah, because their haircuts were so bad that I was like, for whatever reason, I just assumed that the dad was cutting their hair. I missed that line that the welfare department cut their hair.
And so from there, it sort of like takes place over the course of that day, where what we're really seeing in real life is Samira Makhmalbaf is interviewing these people. This all happened, by the way. So there's a certain documentary element to all of this. But she's sort of written this loose with her father. Mohsen Makhmalbaf is the screenwriter of this film and the editor, worth mentioning. They sort of wrote this loose narrative about what could happen to these two girls if they were actually given freedom for a day. And so I think they created some situations for them to take. It's very Iranian filmmaking. It's that cinema verite style. You've seen Kiarostami do it. Panay does it. Like it's that mix of like blurring the lines between documentary.
Reality cinema is what.
Yeah.
Some have called it.
And it's because they're not actors. Nobody in this film is an actor. So shades of close up, which we will get to at one point. And actually, one thing that I thought was very interesting is I started wondering how developmentally challenged the girls were,
and how much of it is like
they are. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. How much of it is nature, and how much is nurture?
Exactly.
The whole movie was reminding me of my sociology, anthropology, psychology class from high school.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, nurture versus nature. Family studies, I remember, was like what we called it.
Oh, interesting.
But that's the whole film. I mean, from there, there's a certain B plot of the welfare director coming to visit, assumingly the next day, and she kind of tricks the old man she kind of locks him in the house himself to be like, kind of like see how you like it. But at the same time, she refuses to give him the keys because she's like, here's a hacksaw, break down these bars on the door that you've been using to keep your children locked up.
Yeah.
And then I'll give you your keys. So she's kind of forcing him to like cut down the very gate that he's using to keep them in. And in there's like some musing about why he feels like he's in the situation, why he's doing the things he does, how like hopeless he is or poor.
The film is able to take a man that initially and at the surface you think is a terrible person. Like you're like, this is a garbage human being for doing this to these children, blah, blah, blah. But then the film makes you sympathize with him.
Yeah.
And does so really well.
Yeah.
Like when she locks him up and like gives him the hacksaw and is like, cut your way out, it like makes you start to feel bad for him.
Yeah.
He's an old man and he's like being forced to like cut his way out of like bars.
He's far too old to be having 11-year-old daughters. Like he's quite the old man. The woman is actually, his wife is the one thing I'm a little bit suspicious. You know, I'll just say this is not like for another section, but I wonder if Mohsen Makhmalbaf was playing the woman, because not only is she wearing a rusai covering her face, she's completely covering her face. You never see the woman's face.
Okay, that's an interesting theory.
Because the part of the reason I think that is, it wouldn't be the first time that Mohsen's done that. Like he's played roles where there's women that like we talked about this in Gabe. He does this in Gabe, and also when the final image of this film is this mother like reaching out to grab the apple, and you see the arm. I'm like, that's a man's arm. It's like a thick, hefty, girthy. Well, unless I'm being like quite rude, and maybe she had like thick, meaty hands, hairy arms, or whatever. But it's like she's also wearing like, it seems like men's ring. Like I'm like, that's a man's hand reaching for the apple. In the final shot, I'm like, Amanda.
That's a man. That is Mohsen. Totally.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing about the sympathy you feel for this man in that crying scene when he cries to the neighbor. He's like, "What have you done You lied to me, because he specifically hung up with the fact that the article now says that he had chained his daughters like to the wall or whatever. And he's like begging, pleading for understanding. He's like, I never chained them up. You make me sound like a monster. I had to leave to run errands, and I locked the gate. And yeah, they were locked in the house because their mother can't take care of them, and they can't take care of themselves. I'm protecting them. I'm worried and so he's like, but now I feel like you guys are treating me like this, like monstrous human. It's like I had no other choice. I'm trying to get some food. I'm trying to get some salt. I'm trying to get some bread. I'm trying to get some ice. Like I'm trying to survive. Why would you guys do this to me? At the same time, as a father, I felt livid. I was like mad at him.
Yeah.
There is a certain element of like he's a pious man. At one point, the social worker asks her like, why do you like do this? And he's like, have you ever read the book Advice to Fathers? Not knowing entirely exactly what the book is, he starts quoting parts of it. He says, do you know what it says about girls? He gives her the book and he quotes, a girl is like a flower. If the sun shines on her, she will fade. A man's gaze is like the sun, and a girl is like a flower. It's like putting cotton next to a fire. It will be consumed. Which I think is a very reductive way to look at how to raise women. So anyways, I don't know where that book comes from. I couldn't really find it in my research, but that's kind of what he's using as his like moral compass for why he's doing what he's doing.
We've talked about how Mohsen Makhmalbaf like was very like Islamic in his youth.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like this movie, in the same way that Salam Cinema felt like it was him working through some of his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like this is working through other aspects of himself. Like in his writing of the script. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that. Ask me how I felt about this film.
I mean, I have no evidence. I have no evidence of that. This is just, how did you feel about the movie, Kaveh?
I don't think I liked it that much. I think it's fine.
Okay.
And we'll get to final grades. But I think this film is like quite unpolished. And it's a little like ambiguous in the ways I want. I think the metaphors are a little, they're not subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't even talk about it. The film's called The Apple. Why is what is the foreign talk a bit? I've been talking for a while. What is the apple in the film?
I want to save that for deeper analysis.
Okay, well,
I do have an
it's
answer
the title
for that.
of the film. But I mean, essentially, plot-wise, the only apple you see in this film is a little boy across the street is like using an apple on a string to coax them out, which is what begins their journey to like leave the house.
And then they go looking for an apple, and then they find the apples.
Yeah.
And then they ask their dad for money to buy the apples.
Yeah.
And then when they buy the apples, they end up immediately going and sharing them with a group of other girls that they meet.
There is a reason this wasn't a strawberry or a peach or a banana. Like,
I didn't know that. That part I didn't know, that it was specifically an apple. I didn't know. But for me, the apple is a stand-in for an ideal. And I'll talk about that in deeper analysis.
Well, I just think, I mean, it could mean a lot of things, but I think one of the most surface level obvious things is it's the Adam and Eve, the apple of knowledge.
I didn't even think of that.
The apple that represent the apple of, we'll get to deeper analysis, of course, but like the apple in that story, I think also represent like sexual awakening, awareness. Right. Like, it's just like all the things that like God forbids. The apple of, and it's like, yeah, the two girls are tempted by the apple to explore the world outside.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about
like,
that. That makes sense.
I thought about it. See, and I thought about that thing like it's very unsubtle.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And I didn't like it for that reason.
Meanwhile, that was like totally over my head. Me who grew up in a religious household completely missed that.
Well, let me ask you then, this is from my writing perspective. Why don't you talk a little bit about how, like, what do you think of it as a director,
especially
how it was
because,
shot?
like, for me, the Apple thing, part of it too is like, that is a negative thing in a religious context.
The apple is.
Yeah.
Yes. In a religious context, it is. God was upset at them for eating the apple.
Yeah. I guess in this regard, it could be like, oh, the pious man is upset with them for going after the apple. I can see it. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally see it.
Yeah, I think it's very obvious. Well, how do you feel about how this film was shot?
The cinematography?
Yeah, all of it. Like, talk to me about it from a filmmaker's perspective.
I didn't like the cinematography. I typically don't like a lot of Makhmalbaf movies' cinematography.
Mm-hmm. Like
for any of the Makhmalbafs. But I think that part of that is because
Gaba is amazing, though.
Yeah, Gaba is beautiful. But like Blackboard's the cinematography.
Yeah, that's also Samira.
Yeah, the cinematography in Buddha Collapsed Out of Shame. Like, I think that the framing in all these movies is great. Like the way that like things are positioned on within the frame of the film looks good. But I think the like lighting is not good. Well, the cameras that they're using don't do the movie any favors either.
Yeah. Can I jump into behind the scenes trivia and you can continue this because I'm going to enlighten you on some of the stuff I read about this film.
We can just like I don't have much more for my initial thoughts. Like I'm honestly good to move on. Like that was pretty much like the standout things for me were that the situation that the kids were in was really messed up, so it made me feel for the kids, and I was immediately like, I hate this father. But then Samira and Mohsen were able to make you feel sympathetic for this man as the movie went on, which is a sign of good writing and good direction.
Behind the scenes in trivia.
Yeah.
Did you get any angry DMs about our last conversation when we did Buddha? Because
no.
We talked about how
but that just came out that episode.
I know, but we missed the important piece of detail that I want to make up for because we missed it.
Sure.
But we talked about how the mother who was part of the film school they started was not the mother of the wife. Makhmalbaf's wife is not the mother of the children.
Yeah.
Remember you, and I was like, I think you're right about that, but we didn't really touch on that further.
Yeah.
So that's actually like, there's this tragic story there is Makhmalbaf's first wife, who's the mother of the 3 children, died tragically in a freak fire accident at home.
Oh.
When Samira was like 12 or something.
Okay, I saw that she had died, but I didn't know how. Fire is a brutal way to go.
Yeah, and the woman is actually his sister-in-law that he married after that.
Like the mom's.
Yeah, Marzia Mishkini was the mother's, or sister? It might not be sister. I don't. I think it is because it
happens a lot in Iran.
The kid's aunt. Yeah. So that's the woman that was the filmmaker who came out of the film program. But just to like touch on something that we didn't touch on last time, in case someone sends you angry DMs. But a little bit of Samira. We've talked about this a bit in Blackboards, but she was raised on her father's films and on sets, and she had minor acting roles in many of Mohsen Makhmalbaf's films. She made 2 shorts before this: Sahra, which was 13 minutes long, Sabk Dar Naqashi. It's the desert and style in painting.
Okay.
She did 2 short films before this. At 15, she abandoned formal education to dedicate herself entirely to cinema, studying primarily with her father at home. A little bit of a reminder of that. Do you remember the situation there? Makhmalbaf began the film school to teach Samira. Considering Iranian universities inadequate, he conceived a plan to open a formal film school and held a nationwide entrance examination to accept 100 students.
Oh, I was wondering how many people... Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When the Ministry of Education denied his application, he opened a small home school at his house with 8 family members and friends. For 4 years, faculty and students spent 8 hours per day, up to 1 month each on a specific cinematic project. Basically, during this time, Samira had gone on to make the Apple and Blackboard through this program. Maysam directed the video, the documentary behind the scenes, how Samira made Blackboard. And Hana made a short film. Hana, of course, we did Buddha Claps Out of Shame. And Mishkini had directed her own film, The Day I Became a Woman.
How long was this going on for?
I think years.
Okay, so it's not like they were all doing this at the same time.
No. This is like anywhere from like 97 to 2002, 2003, some of these films.
Do we know if there were other prominent films that came out of this? Or was it only the films made by the Makhmalbafs that did this well?
I think ultimately it ended up becoming the family's class. Because I think the aim was to get 100 students, but the film education or the education ministry didn't allow them to make the school. So it's like, okay, I'll just do it at home.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just a family affair.
Okay. So then that tracks with what I was thinking. Because I was like, oh, how many was there? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, this makes sense.
He once said in a quote, instead of films, I've decided to make filmmakers. It's just funny. Samira Makhmalbaf was able to shoot this film with film stock left over from her father's film, The Silence.
We haven't done The Silence yet.
No, we haven't. Godfrey Cheshire.
Wait. This was shot on film?
Yeah, 35 millimeter.
I need to see a proper transfer of this.
Okay.
Because this could totally be like a situation of Stranger in the Fog, where...
Oh, I see, yeah.
Where the bad cinematography isn't actually the cinematography that's the issue. Like, it could just be the transfer is garbage.
Right, yeah. Godfrey Cheshire, who we've talked about in the past, journalist, film journalist.
Yep.
had said that, a quote, so the film had started when 17-year-old Samira saw a news report about twin girls, aged 11, who had been imprisoned by their parents since birth. The idea for the movie was to have the actual family play themselves and to shoot it quickly documentary style. Tehrani pundits soon had their own label for the film, calling her the Iranian Kaspar Hauser. Makhmalbaf called it something else. He called it Samira's film. Kaspar Hauser, I didn't know, I just did a quick Google search, was a German youth who claimed to have grown up in total isolation of a darkened cell. This was in the early 19th century. His claims and his subsequent death from a stab wound sparked much debate and controversy both in Nuremberg and abroad.
When you said this person's name and you said you didn't know who they were, for a second I was like, oh, thank God, a German filmmaker that Kaveh also doesn't know. But then,
he's not a filmmaker.
Yeah. Then you mentioned that he was just...
Yeah.
I was like, damn it.
They called the situation the Iranian Kaspar Hauser. Because, yeah. So Samira saw the news headline on a Wednesday and started shooting in 35 millimeter on Sunday of the same week and wrapped the film in 11 days.
Damn, that's crazy.
Makhmalbaf, this is Mohsen, had the backing of French art film company MK2, had 35 millimeter film stock left over from the film The Silence. He had camera equipment, but to go from brainstorm to wrap in 2 weeks is, as Cheshire says, quite the feat.
That's crazy.
As we mentioned, Mohsen Makhmalbaf, who if I occasionally just call him Mohsen, it's not because I'm being informal. It's because there's a lot of Makhmalbafs here. Yeah, my good pal. But Mohsen,
what's up,
Mosi Jun wrote the script. He wrote the script and edited it. So it would be very much like that Kiarostami style of like at nights, Samira would go shoot scenes and at nights they'd discuss what they shot and Mohsen would like develop the next scenes of like, okay, tomorrow you should go like create a scene where this happens. So it's kind of like, it was like more conversational, very fluid. Like, this is very Iranian, like it's classic Iranian.
Well, classic Iranian the night before. It's the reality cinema genre.
Yeah. Now, here's the interesting thing. There's a question here. This is actually film was marred in controversy about whose skill is at work here. The film credits Samira's director, Mohsen as writer and editor. When it premiered at Fajr, it drew a lot of skepticism from Iranian film critics and film buffs who believed Mohsen had directed it, or had largely directed at least, but gave Samira the credit to launch her career. What do you think about that? Before I continue, I want to know your thoughts.
I mean, obviously that's BS, and I think that's a sign of like intense sexism. I think. I mean, he did write it, so it's like in a lot of ways, it is his voice. But then, like Samira clearly directed this, and I think that's pretty.
Is Samira a nepo baby? That's 100%. The question I'm asking you. Yeah, of course. I mean, 100%. She had access to the footage and camera and all that.
Also,
stuff.
She's like she very clearly has adopted the style of her father, even if it was her. Whereas, like I will say, someone like Panahi, he does not direct like his father. That's right. Their directing style is completely different.
This is not dissimilar to Daniel Day-Lewis's son has just made his first feature. Right, I haven't seen it yet. Mixed reviews, but you know who he had starring in his first feature? He had Daniel Day-Lewis in his first feature. It's like you can't deny.
Previously said that he was retired from making films.
Yeah, you got Daniel Day-Lewis coming out of retirement to make your film, so you can't deny that instantly gives your film a leg up in like festival competitions.
Yeah, 100%.
And if Spielberg's child is to make, I don't know if Spielberg, I'm sure
it could be like the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, films. Yeah, so it's like, but still to her credit, she made the film, and then critics at the time were like, she didn't even direct this. Which is
man, this does not have mixed reviews, by the way.
What do you mean?
The Ronan Day-Lewis film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like universally panned.
I've heard some good things from podcasts I listen to, but this is not a Daniel Day-Lewis podcast.
Okay.
Let me continue. When Godfrey Cheshire met with Mohsen in his home, he told him he thought it was better if both father and daughter were credited as directors, both because he thought it was accurate, which he didn't say to Mohsen, but also because he thought it would draw attention away from the film, which is what he did tell Mohsen. But Mohsen had simply responded, but Mohsen simply responded, but it was directed by Samira. So Godfrey Cheshire, who is friends with Mohsen, was like, you should be like, you guys both directed. It's a co-direct credit, right?
Right.
Takes a, the controversy didn't really follow Apple outside of Iran. Thus, Samira at 18 became the youngest director ever to have a film play in a main section of the Cannes Film Festival.
Holy shit.
At 18. She made this film at 18 and got into Cannes.
How old was the other sister when she made Buddha?
I don't know. I'd have to check that. I think older than 18.
She was young too. Oh, she had a short film that played at Locarno.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's
when
what it
she
was,
was
yeah.
like 10 or something, or 8.
Yeah. Iranians then accepted the version given in interviews that Mohsen was absent on set, and each night helped sketch out dramatic ideas for the next day's work. The actors, all non-professionals, playing themselves. So they once Khan had sort of like once the Europeans were like, okay, this is Samira's film, the Iranian community also like was like, okay, fine, we let it go. Like, a little note that Cheshire said was, the father adds to the impression that the reason Iranian directors have been so successful in using non-actors is that on some level, all Iranians are actors. Rather than transparency, he presents us with forceful performance. I really love this quote.
Yeah.
Because I think it's actually very universally true.
Well,
the way
like,
Panay and Kiarostami gets like these beautiful performances out of non-actors is the skill in directing them to deal with real pain that they're drawing upon, and it's not acting, but it's also kind of acting, is a really tough line to walk.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that Iranians are non-actors because on some level, all Iranians are actors. Like, I love that idea.
Tarov trains you.
Tarov trains you. Mohsen once told journalist Hamid Dabashi, when talking about the apple, it is a story of our nation. We have all been kept in a cave by our fathers. We can't even look at the sun.
That feels more apt to have come from Samira, or like an Iranian woman.
Yeah. Well, again, Mohsen had changed, like he changed his views on this quite often.
No, I know, but I don't agree with that assessment. I see that way more for Iranian women than I do for Iranian men.
Yeah, I think he kind of probably meant it that way too. But according to Dabashi, Samira has a far more forging look. It's about the girl's liberation and restoration to life. So Samira had added to that. It's not just about the people. I mean, to the credit of all Iranian citizens, women suffer at a way greater rate, but the men are also imprisoned by a system that doesn't allow them to breathe.
This is true. Also, like, to Mohsen's point, like, he is commenting on like the effects of the toxic patriarchy on men and how that's like a cyclical, like generational issue. I just thought with this movie, it was like, to me, it felt more obvious that this was more a thing of like women and men. But
for awards at Buenos Aires International Film Festival, this was the winner of the Audience Award, winner of the OOCIC Award, nominee for Best Film. At Cannes, it was a nominee for Ansertargad Award, nominee for Golden Camera. Okay, at Locarno Film Festival in 1998, it said it won the Fabreski Prize, special mention. And at this point, I'm starting to figure out, is there like 75 different categories that get the Fabreski Prize? Because I feel like every film we do now gets a Fabreski.
I'm going to look it up.
Every time I look on IMDb, have you not noticed how often this Fabreski? Like, how could it possibly be every Iranian film?
I don't know. Maybe it's like the person who runs it is like an Iranian who's like, yes, we give it to this.
Anyone listening to this that knows, please let me know. Francisco, I know you're out there. Like, the Fabreski Prize cannot be every Iranian film. But at this point, we've done like, it won in 98, 99, 2001, 2000.
Okay. An Iranian won in 2001. And then
Well, go back to 98.
Oh, that's it. I mean, that's the Grand Prix.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, so Fabreski is basically like an international coalition of like film critics.
Yeah. But is it a single award?
No, it seems like they have a bunch of different kinds of awards.
I see. Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
Yeah, there's International Critics Prize, Metro Media Award, Discovery Award.
Yeah.
And then there's the titular Fabreski Prize, which this did not win. And I think that one might be the Grand Prix.
Cool.
No, even that one's not the Grand Prix. Then there's a Grand Prix.
And that's it for Cougar. I mean, it was nominated all over the world, internationally. Tokyo, Munich. It was all over the place. So, yeah. Deeper analysis. Take it away, Farhan.
The main one I have is that the film feels like an allegory for the subjugation of women in Iran.
Yes.
But that feels pretty on the nose.
It's very heavy. I mean, it's not heavy-handed. It's interesting that this was actually happening in real life. Like, she didn't have to fabricate this story.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing to be like, oh, this real life thing that's happening is such a microcosm of.
Yeah, it's like a reflection of the system.
It's like this old man is posing for his own editorial cartoon on the state of Iran.
Yeah,
like imprisoning these two women. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's just
It does. In some ways, like I can also see the film being an allegory for the state of Baha'is in Iran specifically.
right.
And the reason I bring that up is because these girls don't have a formal education,
Yeah.
and they're also not allowed to leave. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like even when they were in the house, the dad like didn't teach them how to do anything, like do any chores or anything.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not allowed to go out there and learn, and also I'm gonna keep you in here, and you're not allowed to learn here either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is very much the case with Baha'is in Iran, is barred from education and also barred from leaving the country, like not allowed. Which you would think that it's like, okay, well, if this is your persona non grata, why don't you let them leave? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that that's an intentional allegory, but I think that it
Well,
kind of works.
It's not that they aren't allowed to be educated. They're not allowed to do anything. Like education is just one other thing on a pile of things they're not allowed to do. Yeah.
Also, the apple kind of works as a stand-in for the idea of freedom, I found.
Yeah. But you're not in the Adam and Eve way?
No.
Because the apple does represent freedom of everything. It's like unshackling
That's not what
your
it's
chains,
supposed
freedom
to
of
be.
knowledge, freedom of liberation, freedom.
That's like in the story of Adam and Eve.
What do you mean?
The apple is supposed to originally represent like sin and temptation and carnal desires.
Yeah, but it's also known as the apple of
I
knowledge.
think it's the tree of knowledge.
The tree of knowledge.
But the apple doesn't.
Yeah,
But the
apple's
apple's
from the tree of
supposed to
knowledge.
represent temptation and carnal desire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Sins, lust, sex. Call it for what it is.
Yeah.
Which again goes back to the Islamic regime. You have to cover your hair because you're going to look too sexy and men won't be able to control themselves.
Yeah, that's fair too, because the dad is kind of insinuating a lot.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, you know, these boys, they keep looking over our fence and you know, he keeps talking about how like you have to do this because one day you're gonna get married." I'm like, who's gonna marry these girls? These girls are like developmentally challenged. Like,
who's gonna marry?
I mean, like
these
realistically,
kids?
they can't speak. They're not in a state to be wed. Like, they're not. They don't have their faculties. I mean, we don't know.
And that's largely also probably the dad's
Yeah,
fault.
possibly, but also at this point, they're like
Yeah.
borderline feral.
Yeah,
Will Ferrell.
not Pharrell Williams. That's a different one.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and then him going back to him reading from that book, The Duties of the Father, and being like, oh, men are the sun, and women are flowers, and women will wilt under the sun, like cotton
Do
catching
you
the
have
flame.
more deeper analysis?
Yeah, it's just the stuff like it's. One image I did like was one of the opening images, like the potted plant staying there, and like
That's being watered.
well,
yeah.
but then the water is just missing it, right? Do you remember at first it's kind of spilling over the edge and not
I
hitting
missed
it?
that.
I think
Okay,
that's what was
okay.
happening. I don't know if maybe I'm incorrect about that, but I
No,
think
I believe you. I just didn't clock it.
and I just like that idea of like the water just doesn't quite make it, because I think the girl's arm is out of reach too because of the gate.
Right.
So it's like the water, it's like the nourishment is just coming short. The cup of water is
Right.
trying to be spilled and it's just a little like out of reach. That's deeper analysis. We talked about it. It's unsubtle, man. Best scene. Okay,
I have a favorite scene.
go for it.
There's a scene early on in the film where the girls hear about this they like see this boy outside. He's like selling ice cream. And then later when they finally get freedom, they go find the boy who's selling the ice cream and they try to like take some from him. And the one girl steals one from him and runs away. And then as he chases after her, the other sister goes and steals like multiple handfuls. And she ends up with like more ice cream than she knows what to do with.
Yeah,
she takes
yeah,
like
yeah.
2 licks and like feeds a bunch to a goat, gives a bunch
Yeah.
away to other kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the first girl who stole the first one, the boy catches up to her and like holds her and is like, "Give me money for my ice cream, whatever." And a neighbor hears the altercation and is like, "Hey, what's going on, whatever?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"She stole my ice cream." And the neighbor's like, "That's the feral girl who was locked up for like 11 years. Like, leave her alone."
Yeah. And she gives the money for the ice cream.
Yeah, the neighbor gives money to the kid to like buy them ice cream. And then at the end, as he's like handing ice cream to her and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was like mean, whatever." He's like, oh, and take these ones to your sister. Here's a couple extra ones. And the whole time in the background, like down the street, you can see the first sister like feeding the goat what's left of the ice cream.
Yeah,
from the ones that she stole.
Yeah. Cute. That was your favorite scene?
That was my favorite scene.
My favorite scene, I really liked the argument with the neighbor who you thought was the wife.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's really pleading his case of like, madam, look what you've done to me. You've ruined my life. Listen to this. Like, look what they were saying about me in the papers. And she's like, we didn't want to ruin your life. We're worried about these kids. And he starts sobbing. Mm-hmm. He really starts crying. And this is a moment in this reality cinema moment where like you're getting the real life man crying about what's his like state of life is at right now. He's a poor old man who's stuck. And I'm like, I feel for this guy. Even though as a father, I kind of think what he's done is detestable. But I'm like, I feel sorry for him. And that was a really powerful moment.
Yeah, that was the first time in the movie that I started to feel some sympathy for him.
Yeah. There's also a really nice scene later on when the worker, social worker, shows up and locks him in the gate.
Oh, so she's the social worker.
The social worker is the one who locks him.
Oh, the whole time I thought that she was like a reporter who broke the story to social workers.
No, she's the social worker checking up on the girls.
Okay.
And so she locks him in the gate and they're talking. And he like makes her a cup of rice and they start eating rice together from through the fence. And that's when he's like starting to like talk about a situation. Mm-hmm. He's just like, I've been raised to believe this. And it's just like a really kind of sweet scene. He's like, what am I supposed to do? He just kind of talks about his situation, how hard it is. And I don't know. It was like a tender moment of them trying to like see eye to eye. But she's there to defend the young girls' honor and protect them. But he's like, look at my life.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When she locks up the parents inside the house, she says, the social workers are going to come later today to talk to you, and you better have gotten yourself free by then. Mm-hmm. If she's the social worker, is she talking about herself or is she talking about her coworkers?
I think coworkers.
Okay.
I think she was kind of doing this as like a concerned person, like not on behalf of them. I don't know.
Okay.
I think the whole
that
film
was partially why I didn't think she was the social worker.
I think from one of the books I'd read, that's how they kept referring to her too.
No,
so
I
that
believe
solidified it for me.
Yeah.
Damn, that's poetry where we talk about our favorite lines and shit. He says in the when it's doing the whole hard copy Dateline NBC journalism documentary thing at the beginning, at the actual welfare office, they're asking the father a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. And he's like, why don't you try this? He's like, I've tried that. That won't work. It's like, well, have you considered doing this? Like, that wouldn't work either. And he's like, listen, what is it? This famous quote he says. And he's like, if the morning sun doesn't warm you, the evening sun won't either.
آفتاب صبح که میگه قدیم گفتن آدم گرم نشود آفتاب بعد از ظهر گرم نمیشه.
Solid.
And I'm like, oh, that's an interest. That makes sense. Like, that sounds very poetic and beautiful. If the morning sun doesn't warm you, the evening sun won't either.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that's poetry.
I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah, that's good. That's
I'm totally gonna start using that. Okay, I have a runner up, and it's from my favorite scene. There's a part where the boy looks at the girl and he's like, wait, were you really locked up for 11 years? And she goes, yeah. And then you think for a second that he's gonna feel bad for her, but his immediate reaction is, so what? Does that mean every time someone's locked up for 11 years, I suddenly don't have to let them pay for their ice cream?
Yeah, that's funny.
I was like, oh, that's really funny. Like, how many people is this guy meeting who've been locked up for 11 years?
That's exactly how.
So every time someone's locked up for 11 years, I have to give them away ice cream?
Yeah, that's exactly 9-year-old boy logic too.
Yeah. Okay, my real main one. This is when the dad is like breaking down.
Yeah.
He's talking about, the neighbor basically comes up to him and is like, oh, look, you're in the news. And he looks at the news, this like piece in the newspaper talking about what a terrible person he is for like locking up his kids. And it's like, oh, he chained his kid up. And then he's like, again with the chaining. I didn't chain them up. I just locked them inside, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then he says, for 65 years, nobody cared who I was or where I lived.
65 سال زندگی کردم کسی نمیدونست که من اصلا کجا هستم کجا زندگی میکنم.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the fact that like he had this really hard life. He grew up poor, he grew up overlooked by people. He had this really hard life with a blind wife and then 2 children who were disabled. And like for 65 years, his entire life, nobody cared about him. Everyone overlooked him.
Yeah.
And then this, like, all of a sudden the story broke and now everyone is coming to tell him what to do with his life.
Yeah, and that also speaks to the hypocrisy too of like nobody cared enough about me to help, but now that I'm a sensationalized news story, everybody cares all of a sudden to intervene
Yeah.
and decide what's best.
Yeah.
But nobody was like helping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. All right, great. Best performance. I give The Father.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Qurban Ali Naderi.
Yeah, The Father's great. Festival of Cons. Take it away, FJ.
I don't like the weird whispery song. It plays twice
what
in the
was
movie.
that?
I don't know, but I didn't like it.
Well, it seemed like the mother was also whispering too a lot.
Yeah, the mom was, but there's like a weird whispery song that almost plays like a culty ritualistic like tribal song. And it plays twice in the movie. Didn't like it. It was super unsettling and almost felt like a horror film.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, the song that plays while the girls follow the boy with the apple through the city courtyard, that song's a banger.
Yeah. I remember that one. That is good. Yeah, my only Festival of Cons is I just wrote unsubtle. Like as a writer, I'm genuinely like annoyed about how on the nose and surface level all the metaphors are.
Yeah. What did you do for double feature?
Double feature lineup. I did.
Took the wind out of your sails, didn't I?
Yeah, you can't just go to the next subject and start talking about it.
What'd you pick?
I just decided to go with Lenny Abramson's 2015 film, Oscar-nominated film, Room, starring Brie Larson
Why do
and
you
Jacob
pick all these
Tremblay.
obscure films?
That's not obscure. It's an Oscar-nominated film.
I'm joking.
Brie Larson. Okay, let me put it in ways. Let me see. How can I get too far on? Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
The actor who plays Captain Marvel used to be in other movies.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes, yeah. And also between those two movies, she was in a film called Room.
Oh, I see.
Room is based on a true story, and it's the lagline is held captive for years in an enclosed space. A woman and her young son finally gain their freedom, allowing the boy to experience the outside world for the first time.
Wow.
They're
I didn't know that's what
prison.
the movie was about. I've seen the poster. I didn't know what it was about.
Well, there's two rooms. Like, I'm obviously not talking about Tommy Wiseau's
Yeah,
room,
not that one.
too, right? Like that's.
Yeah.
She's in an abusive, dangerous abusive situation with a husband who like locks them up or something. I can't remember.
That's so funny. Can I tell you what in my brain I thought the movie was about just looking at the poster?
Yeah, it's Brie Larson and the child hugging, right?
Yeah. And there's like
poster,
trees in the background and like there's like a sky and whatever. What do you think I thought the movie was about?
A kid is sick with some terminal disease and the mom has to like find a cure.
Kind of. In my head, the kid was sick, but it's about like, the mom is like showing him how wonderful life is and like taking him out on like little adventures throughout like town and the city and whatever.
Did you ever notice the sky on that poster?
I'm noticing it now. It's painted.
Not a sky. It's it's a room.
Yeah.
Great. That's mine. What's yours?
I originally wrote Buddha collapsed out of shame.
Because it's the last film you've seen.
No. It's like it tackles very similar themes.
Yeah, I get. Yes.
And they're siblings, and like it's from the same school, blah blah blah, all this stuff. But then I was like, it might actually be a little exhausting to watch. So I actually picked Seed of the Sacred Fig for the other one.
I see. I can see why. Yeah.
One of them is kind of like, the girls are given their freedom, and the other one is the girls take their own freedom.
Well, and also the entire third act, he locks them up. He locks the daughter.
Yeah.
So it's like, great. Hollywood remake. I'm gonna just quickly say no. I don't think this film in particular needs a Hollywood remake.
Mm-hmm.
But I am curious if your answer is no, and if no, I would push you to be like, how would you go about it if you were given like, your fee will be $1 million. Produce the remake.
I wrote sure, and if it is getting made, it just needs way more stuff happening in the film, way more drama, way more twists and turns. Like there isn't enough that happens, and the whole like premise, the situation with like the hacksaw, I thought was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie doesn't really do much of it. It's almost just like a circumstantial thing, and the dad like kind of shrugs and he's like, "All right, I guess it is what it is," and then he starts using the hacksaw to like cut his way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it definitely feels like the first draft of a film. And
Yeah,
my
again,
first
like, this
note
thing- the
reading
entire
this
thing.
would be like, oh, you need more conflict.
From inception to final shot, 11 days. Like, that's an insane.
Yeah.
And you're 17 years old.
Yeah. Which is like, hey, for a 17-year-old,
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah. Good for her. Yeah. Final thoughts and grades. I want to give this a B range mark, but I have to go C++.
Whoa. Do
I
you
think
think
the film is...
Do you think if you had seen this before Buddha, you would have given it a higher grade?
No, I really like Buddha. I'm actually... Well, I don't know. Maybe... No.
Because I wonder if you're like exhausted after like watching that than
No.
watching this. If you're like...
No, because I'm realizing this. I think like I like Hana more as a filmmaker than Samira, even though Samira's made more films. Because I don't think I like Blackboards that much either. Like I liked Buddha Claps Out of Shame by Hana more than I liked Blackboards, which is
Yeah,
Samira's.
you gave Blackboards a B+.
And I just might not be like, I don't know. But also she was 17, 18. Like most people don't, the world never sees a 17-year-old's film that was made in 11 days. Like
Yeah.
the fact, like it deserves its thing, but I just don't think it's fucking unpolished, man. Like this is not like a polished film. It's a student film that
Yeah.
your father happens to be one of the most prolific Iranian filmmakers of all time.
Yeah.
I think that carries a lot of weight, and she deserves her laurels for it, whatever. But I don't think I think the film's a scrappy little, not a scrappy underdog, but a scrappy little put together sort of student film.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's particularly good from a writing standpoint. I think whatever stories were generated came from, like, look, credit to her to directing those actors, those non-actors giving performance, but they're also pulling from their real life.
Yeah.
So they're not really acting in scenes. Your father is creating situations for a script, quote unquote, for you to do. I don't know what, it's a cool idea. I'd be proud. If I made this, I'd be proud. But if I made this, I'd be making this under wildly different circumstances.
Yeah. I agree with your assessment of the film. I did like it a tiny bit more than Buddha Collapsed Out of Shame, but I also only gave that one a B minus minus. I think part of it for me is I just thought technically this was more polished than Buddha, like from a technical perspective. And I'm even more interested now to see what this movie looked like on 35 millimeter, because Buddha Collapsed Out of Shame was definitely shot on some like random Sony cam. Decent, pretty good. Felt like a first draft. I want more from it. But what I got out of it, I thought was good. So overall, I'm giving it a B minus, which means that our Cinema Rex show average for The Apple is a B minus minus.
The Apple is a simple but compelling account of Iranian society at large. In a sense, your heart can't help but go out to both sides in this battle. The girls because they are so innocent and full of life and have been treated so unfairly. The father because he's done the wrong thing for reasons he heartbreakingly is convinced are right. The welfare worker whose authority is bound to strike many Westerners as paradoxical. While we often equate Iranian's government with moldy tradition and repression, its agent here is the instrument of modern openness and liberation from patriarchy's weighty hand. Though the film generated much debate about the creator's hand, it is well worth offering the suggestion that this indeed is Samira Makhmalbaf's film, and one she should own proudly. But that isn't to say the film doesn't have its limitations. The film nowhere asks us to see the parallels between the family in front of the camera and the one behind it, and in that it is certainly less self-aware and sophisticated than her father's films. Yet that edge of naivety is what finally convinces audiences that this is indeed Samira's film. Full credit should be awarded her. A highly recognized first feature from a young pupil of an Iranian maestro. Hats off to you, Samira.
The fact that you said the naivety is what makes us realize that it's Samira and not Mohsen.
It's not. This is not the maestro's film. It is super. It's like baby's first feature.
That's funny. Maybe that's why
you can leave this. You can leave this part, and I agree with it.
Maybe that's why Mohsen is like, no, it wasn't. It was all her, guys. I swear.
It's freaking unpolished. I'm sorry. I don't know. Thank you very much, Far and June, for joining in on all the discussions on all types of fruits.
Thank you, Kaveh.
Thank you to all our listeners. Be sure to follow us on Cinerex Podcast on Instagram. Like and subscribe. Give us reviews on all of the podcast things. Leave comments. We'll read them from time to time. And to everyone else, Be'omid Didar.
Bye.
Music for Cinema Rex was written and performed by Sohail Sadinejad.